What if I told you that your imagination, yes, the same one you use to daydream, is the most powerful force in the universe? That a man once taught, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you assume to be true. His name was Neville Goddard, and once you hear what he discovered, your reality may never look the same again. Today we will dive deep into the fascinating teachings of Neville, a man whose ideas about consciousness, imagination, and manifestation have influenced millions around the world. Whether you're new to the law of attraction or have heard phrases like, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, this is the place to start. Neville didn't teach manifestation as just positive thinking or wishful dreaming. He spoke about it as a spiritual truth, a law of consciousness. His core message? Imagination creates reality. So, who was Neville Goddard? What did he really teach? And how can you apply his ideas to manifest the life you truly want? Let's begin by exploring the man behind the message. Neville Goddard was born in 1905 on the island of Barbados. He later moved to the United States, where he initially pursued a career in theater and dance. But it wasn't long before his life took a spiritual turn. In the 1930s, Neville encountered a mystic named Abdullah, who introduced him to esoteric Christianity and the metaphysical idea that God is within, not a distant being, but the very consciousness experiencing life through us. This was a turning point for Neville. He abandoned his performance career and began studying mysticism, scripture, and philosophy deeply. Over the next few decades, he gave thousands of lectures, wrote several books, and became a central figure in what we now know as the New Thought movement. Unlike many self-help teachers, Neville drew extensively from the Bible, but he interpreted it symbolically rather than literally. He believed every character and event in Scripture reflected a psychological truth within us. Neville passed away in 1972, but his teachings have only grown in influence. His timeless message was, and still is, you are the operant power. You don't have to ask for permission to change your life. You already have the power within you. At the heart of Neville Goddard's philosophy is one radical idea. Imagination creates reality. He taught that everything you experience in your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner world, your beliefs, assumptions, and dominant thoughts. Let's break down some of his most important concepts: the law and the promise. Neville often spoke of two things: the law and the promise. The law is the principle that your imagination, when used with feeling and faith, can shape your external world. The promise is a deeper spiritual awakening, where you come to realize your unity with God or your higher self. Most people come to Neville for the law, to manifest a job, a relationship, wealth, or health. But Neville believed that every successful manifestation eventually leads us toward the promise, a full realization of our divinity. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is perhaps Neville's most famous teaching. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and live as though it were true. Instead of begging the universe or hoping things will change, Neville taught that you must feel as if your desire is already fulfilled. That means experiencing the emotions, thoughts, and beliefs of the version of you who already has what they want. This isn't just visualization, it's embodiment. You must dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. Everyone is you pushed out. Another powerful concept is that everyone is you pushed out. Neville taught that other people in your life are reflecting your assumptions and beliefs. If someone treats you poorly, it may be mirroring your subconscious beliefs about yourself. Change your self-concept, and the people around you change too. This doesn't mean others don't have free will, but rather that your consciousness powerfully influences how your world reflects back to you. Let's now turn theory into practice. How do you actually manifest using Neville's techniques? Define your desire clearly. Be specific. Neville advised knowing exactly what you want. Do you want a new job, a loving partner, better health, or financial freedom? Clarity is essential. Construct an imaginal scene. Create a short mental scene that implies your wish has already been fulfilled. For example, if you want to get married, imagine yourself wearing a wedding ring and hearing "congratulations." If you want a new job, imagine your friend saying, "I'm so happy you got the job." This scene should be short, vivid, and loopable, about 10 to 15 seconds long. Enter a state of relaxation. Neville recommended entering a drowsy, meditative state, what he called the state akin to sleep. This is where your conscious mind is quiet and your subconscious is most receptive. Feel it real. Now play your scene in your imagination with feeling. It's not about watching yourself like a movie. It's about being in the scene as if it's happening now. Feel the joy, pride, relief, or gratitude as if your desire has already come true. Repeat nightly and let it go. Do this every night before bed, and once you've planted the seed, let it grow. Don't obsess. Don't check the 3D world for proof. Trust that it's done. Neville insisted that the world will conform to your inner state, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. Neville often shared incredible stories from his students to illustrate the power of imagination. One famous story is about a woman who wanted to move to a new apartment. She imagined walking up the steps, feeling the keys in her hand, and looking out the window of her new place, even though she had no money or leads. Weeks later, a series of events unfolded, and she ended up moving into the exact type of apartment she had imagined. No logic could explain it, only consciousness. Another woman imagined reconciling with her estranged husband. She lived in the end, seeing herself happily married again. Within months, they reunited and renewed their vows. Neville himself shared how he manifested a trip from New York to Barbados during wartime when commercial travel was nearly impossible. He imagined sleeping in his childhood bed and feeling the tropical air. And against all odds, the military released him from duty, and he was on a ship to Barbados within weeks. These stories aren't just anecdotes. They show that when imagination is fused with belief and feeling, reality bends to meet it. Neville's ideas can sound too good to be true, and that's a common criticism. Skeptics argue that you can't just think your way into a new reality. Action, discipline, and external factors matter too. But Neville never said action isn't required. He simply said that action flows from the state you dwell in. When your inner world changes, your behavior, intuition, and opportunities naturally align with your new state. Another criticism is that blaming people's problems on their assumptions is overly simplistic or even cruel. But Neville wasn't about blame. He was about empowerment. His point was, you have more creative power than you think. And even if your current reality is tough, you're not a victim. You're the operant power. He also never suggested you bypass emotions. Instead, he encouraged deep inner transformation through conscious awareness. Neville Goddard didn't claim to be a guru. He never built a cult, never asked for money, and didn't seek fame. He simply shared one profound idea. Imagination is God. To Neville, every person is God dreaming in human form. And the moment you awaken to this, you stop living as a victim of circumstance and begin shaping your world from within. Manifestation isn't about controlling everything. It's about creating a new inner reality and trusting that your outer world will catch up. So whether you're manifesting love, abundance, healing, or purpose, remember Neville's words. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. Thank you for watching. If Neville's teachings resonate with you, try them for yourself, not as a belief, but as an experiment. The results might just change your life. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share, or leave a comment. And remember, your imagination is more powerful than you think. Use it wisely.